when local growers put great food on Tennessee tables. That's living green. Join Live Green Tennessee tonight as we check out Nashvilleian James Arledge's line of no-gas scooters. Plus, we head to Knox County to take a look at the technology used on King's Hydroponics farm. And we visit with artist Jake Wells, who is going green with environmentally friendly sculptures. All of this right here, coming up next on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This fall, there's fun worth finding just about every day at Tennessee farms, farmers markets, fairs, and festivals. You'll find corn mazes, pig races, farm animals and friendly faces, honey to eat, and fall colors that are a feast for the eyes. Whether you're looking for the perfect pumpkin or just a good scare, find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
and by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Southern Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education, connecting the grower to the buyer, the country to the city, and smart shopping with a healthy lifestyle. It's Live Green Tennessee.
Hello and welcome to Live Green Tennessee. I'm Melinda Kiefer and I'm proud to be your host for the show that teaches the importance of shopping local, eating healthy, and taking that step to live a green lifestyle. We have all seen the popularity boom that hybrid and electric cars have seen over the past few years. With more and more Tennesseans choosing greener, more affordable transportation, we've seen the rise of popularity with bike riders, public transportation, and just simply putting on the tennis shoes and walking. Nashvilleian James Arledge took the idea of alternative transportation to a whole different level with his line of no-gas scooters.
Well, in 1973, fresh out of high school, I decided to pursue the career in piano technology. I started the Arledge Piano Service. I decided I wanted a career in piano servicing, tuning, and repairing. And that I enthusiastically pursued for 37 years, eventually becoming a piano designer, where I found myself being hired as a piano design consultant, primarily in China. So it really gave me an opportunity to visit and experience China. At that time, I noticed a tremendous number of electric scooters, and I thought to myself, I want one of those. That's a cool tool. So I managed to get my wish, got my scooter, and it, in a way, it was a revelation, came to me, this is the way it's done. It was like a freedom from being held hostage by gasoline. I did not have to stop by and purchase gasoline and all the things that entails. And that was spiritually lifting for me to realize it's possible. And I'm doing it. I'm doing it right here, right now. I chose the name No Gas and trademarked that as our company name because essentially that says it all. Our whole theme, our whole reason for being is to get off gas. That fixes a lot of things in this world. We essentially took an existing frame and modified it to meet our standards. So we actually do a lot of the welding and fabrication right here. This keeps the initial cost down and gives us the product that we want. You have the batteries, which provide the power, and then you have the motor, which this is the motor. It's amazingly simple technology. This is the wheel motor. Of course, this is the rim that eventually the tire will go around the rim. So the simplest way to explain how the motor works is that it has magnets inside, 54, that have alternating poles. One is north to south and the next one is south to north, and so forth. And inside of that is a stator. is, again, an electromagnet that will become magnets when it's energized from the power of the battery. And when a signal is sent through one of the wires, it energizes a pole so that it is attracted to the next pole, and the next pole, and the next pole, and so on. And this makes the wheel go around and provides all of the power in a very silent way, in a very clean way. Then ultimately, the wheel axle to support it to the scooter goes through, and you put a tire on it, put the covers on, and you have a wheel motor. Well, we just started on this morning. We'll modify the frame, reinforce the frame as we do all the frames to meet some rigorous standards. These are interesting batteries that are actually an option. They're much cheaper, but they don't last as long. They're only going to last a year or two before you have to change them, because they're made from diatomaceous earth. That's the bulk of the electrolyte that charges and gives you the energy. When the battery is spent, 95% of the material that is not either sent off to plastic or graphite or lead is actually used here as a high-quality soil fertilizer for my vegetable garden out front. So we call that our battery garden. I just saw a big, huge tomato out there. I can't wait to sink my teeth into that. Totally safe, and I use it exactly for that. Our scooters run on 72 volt DC. We'll change to the lithium battery format, but before a set of batteries goes on scooter, we put them through the test as a group of cells to check the balance, to make sure that they're all working as a unit. If you overcharge or over discharge, it can hurt the battery, but the user doesn't have to worry about that. That's what these circuits are. They monitor each cell so that it completely protects itself.
With electric motors, you basically, from a dead stop, have absolute full torque on the motor as soon as you apply it. So the torque band is virtually limitless from stop to maximum. It's very impressive when you actually ride one, that you can just be cruising along at 25 or 30, and if you feel like you need some power to get out of the way of something, if you open the throttle wide open, you get instantaneous response.
So the ultimate challenge is to get people to give this technology a try. On a nice day, you may think to yourself, I think I'll take the scooter today. It's a nice day. I think I'll just enjoy a nice zero emissions ride. And for that day, you're taking action into the world that we hope to see in the future. So it's great. There's a lot more plugs than there are gas stations. So we actually have an infrastructure, don't realize it, and are not utilizing it. What I'm amazed at is how deeply ingrained the gasoline culture is in each of us. We don't know how to get off of gasoline. We're almost afraid. We take almost no action. This has been the scenario since I can remember in the 70s. And for 40 years now, we've done virtually nothing. And this saddens me. This saddens me because I have grandchildren now. And I'm thinking, good gracious, what are they gonna think of us? Grandpa, why didn't you do something?
Hydroponic technology is the growing of plants and systems without soil, in which the plants are fed the necessary water and nutrients for growth. But how does this work? And even more so, who is using this technology? Well, King's Hydro Farm in Knox County is one of the many who are continually searching for better, more progressive ways to go about traditional farming. Let's take a look at how 3 generations of the King family are continuing their growth and diversity with this story brought to us by Chris Smith of East Tennessee Public Television.
Today we're here at King's Hydro Farm. I'm Jim King, the owner of the farm here. Our operation here is a hydroponic operation where we have a variety of fruits and vegetables that we raise, and we have it open to the public to come in to do you pick. Me and my wife Janet, we were in the waiting room waiting on the birth of one of her grandsons, and she saw this article in a magazine about two couples that had started raising lettuce in greenhouses up in Leesburg, Virginia. We called the folks, went up and paid them a visit, found this to be a very interesting operation, and decided it was something we wanted to do further investigation to raise fruits and vegetables for our own personal use. After about 3 months of research, we decided to put up a small greenhouse to raise some vegetables, especially during the winter months. We started out with beets, turnips, some spinach, lettuce, and tomatoes, and we're quite successful at it. I took those vegetables, we've had more than what we could consume, and we're selling them at our office. Then there got to be such a demand for it, we decided to expand and put in the stacker system we have now. The stacker system is a means where you can take 20 plants and grow them hydroponically in a 1 square foot footprint, which means that you can raise a lot more produce in a smaller space. In the stacker system, if you have 1 acre in stackers, that's equivalent to raising plants in the ground in a 7-acre space. And the beauty of it is it uses only 4.5% of the water that you would be required to raise in the ground. In the stackers, we have to use a mix to hold the roots in place. That mix is vermiculite perlite. We use the perlite because it holds 10% of its weight in water. Vermiculite holds 90% of its weight in water. When the watering system comes on, then the water flows through the pots through capillary action, and this combination sucks it up like a sponge and holds it for the plants to take and consume as they need it. This allows the plants to have optimum growth because the nutrients are in a form that the plants can easily take up, and because they're constantly watered and the plants can get to that water easily, they grow much better, especially like this summer where we had the drought conditions. The plants in the ground could not get sufficient water to keep them healthy. Another benefit of the stacker system is that the plants, whenever they're spent, you can, if you have another plant that's ready to go into the pots, you pull the old plant out, put another one in, and you keep that space filled at all times. That's another way of getting more crops, more benefit out of the space that you have than you would have in the ground. The other advantage of the stacker system is the fact that it's easy for customers to come pick. They rotate, especially like if you have strawberries planted here, the customer can turn them, pick their plants, and also a lot of our customers are used to picking strawberries in the ground. Here they can stand and pick with a lot more ease, and they like that. The other advantage to this system is that the ground is covered. You're not dealing with weeds, grass, other plants. Most of our customers that we have come from within the neighborhood. I'd say 80 to 95% of our customers come within a 2-mile radius of here. There's 5 or 6 major subdivisions within 2 miles of us, and that's where most of our customers come. We've had some customers come from some interesting places. We've had people come in from Atlanta. We've had some customers come to look over the farm that were from Israel, from Moldova. We've had customers that come from out of state, North Carolina, South Carolina, up in Indiana, Missouri, because our farm here is very unique There's a lot of interest in this type of farm. People will find us on the internet and they'll come to actually see what it's all about. Some people have come to investigate possibly putting one of these farms in their area. They want to know the value of raising vegetables this way. Is it a profitable type of operation? Do the customers respond well to the produce? And how long does it take to build up a customer base for a U-pick operation? We're early on in the operation, so it takes several years to get your feet on the ground to where you actually start turning a profit. If it hadn't been for the hail damage this year, we would have made a reasonable amount of profit for the first year. And that's part of the hazards of farming, because you never know what the weather is going to take and do to you. So you just have to be prepared and take the good with the bad. If somebody wanted to take and do this at home, the equipment is initially expensive, but you can raise a lot of vegetables that will help cut down on your food bill. And you can do it a lot healthier in the fact that you yourself control what goes into your nutrient system, into your water system, and turn out a better product than what you normally can take and buy.
Tennessee abounds with amazing talent from local artists across the state. Art festivals are in full swing year-round, giving us the ability to share the beauty that each individual artist renders on a canvas, in pottery, or as a sculptor, or many of the other ways in which their creative process comes out. Pleasant View artist Jake Wells is choosing to let that creative process out in a way that not only makes for beautiful sculpture, but is doing so in a way that takes environment-friendly art to a whole new level.
I had an art show in downtown Nashville. One of the guys who came to the show is also a painter, actually a house painter as well as an artist. And he had 80 gallons or so of house paint that he didn't know what he was going to do with it.
I was trying to find an artist or somebody that could reuse it in a much more proper way. And Jake was the man.
And then instead of going to a landfill or, God forbid, down a drain, this will be reused and then elevated to art, giving it another shot, another life. 80 gallons of paint, about $30 a gallon. So this is a really good deal.
So I felt blessed, and I think he may have felt the same way about it, and I think the earth might feel the same way.
So these two shelves are my paint drying stations. These are shelves that I converted. I start with 3 gallons of paint for this layer, 3 gallons for this layer. So I pour that out, and then that's got to dry for about 3 weeks. And once it's cured, then I'll put another 2.5, 3 gallons of paint down and let that cure. So there's 3 gallons on the first pour, 2.5 on the second one, and 2.5 on the third one. 8 gallons. I really like it when the material is fresh. You know, it's not wet at this point. It's just cured enough that it's solid, and it's very pliable. The knife will cut through this like hot butter at this point, as opposed to when it's a year old, then it won't hardly cut it at all. And then what you'll get is a nice cross section, kind of like the ingrained on wood. So I have plans for a kind of like a line drawing. I also have plans for a sculptural piece with these too. So any painter has a palette. I have a wet palette, but this is my dry palette. Whenever I pour paint to make a sculpture, I'll let the remaining paint stay in the bucket until it's dry, and then I'll actually pull it out. And then I can just add it to the palette. The main idea here is just to not waste anything. You know, nothing's waste until you waste it, right? So a lot of these colors, somebody picked out, somebody brought home, somebody started to paint their living room and realized it was just the wrong color. So I feel like a lot of these colors, there's this element of discontent. You know, somebody returned it because it wasn't what they had in mind. But then they make their way into my hands, and I have the opportunity to turn them into something beautiful, you know, turn them into a work of art. Nature's always been the inspiration for my work, not just in look, but also in process. Nothing is wasted. You know, everything serves a purpose. You know, if something dies, it returns to the soil, it turns into something else. So waste is actually kind of a human concept. In nature, there is no waste. So the idea behind a piece like this is recycling. That's where you see all the different colors here. That's actually recycled office paper. The surface of the earth, you know, we have these tectonic plates, and as they collide, mountains are created. Or maybe one tectonic plate slides underneath the other one, it melts, it becomes lava, it comes out of a volcano over here. So it's basically the earth recycling itself. So I kind of see these as like these cross sections, almost like a cutaway of the earth where you have the crust, mantle, and core. And that's a lot of what I do with these layers. I pour the paint, I get it nice and thick, and then I actually slice into it. So instead of seeing the top surface, what you're seeing is the inside. So you get this unique glimpse. So this would have been several gallons of paint poured. I pour a layer, let it dry, pour a layer, let it dry. So just within this inch here, that might be about a month's time of pouring and letting it dry. It's not until you actually cut into it that you can see what the layers inside will look like. This piece is titled Altered Path, where I highlight some areas of the wood grain. I'm attracted to these naturally occurring compositions. It takes a little bit of the work out for me. It's not so much about a composition that I derive, it's more like a collaborative piece between me and nature. So here we're seeing water, the evidence of water to suggest erosion, and also the idea of deposition where things accumulate. So I'm suggesting like a bedrock here, or some kind of sedimentary rock. Well, actually it takes 700 years to make 1 inch of limestone. So I'm kind of contrasting this geologic scale with the time frame of my life. To make this area of paint probably took about 3 months. This top layer in particular I know took about a month alone, pouring probably about 30 gallons of paint just to make this top 3/4 inch layer. There's about 30 layers of recycled paint here. This band of color you see here is actually created from my stir sticks, the same paint that's on the walls in your home. But then I've also taken another material. I've taken magnolia leaves, oak leaves, different leaves to actually provide more body. It's not all paint. So there actually is organic material mixed in with the paint. So I like to take, materials like leaves, or I made the dryer lint sack, which is like a lunch bag or lunch sack made out of this material, which, in some ways that's kind of gross, the idea of using this, all the hair, all the skin cells in dryer lint, and then, juxtaposing that with something like a lunch bag. And I don't try to absolutely hide that it was once this kind of waste material. I want you to kind of have an idea that this was recycled dryer lint or recycled paint or recycled paper pulp, because then you get that this was material that was deemed waste. So with my work, I want people to understand that these materials that you might see as mundane or everyday or as waste can actually be something beautiful, something provocative like art. And I think we need to draw inspiration from that and make, our society more sustainable.
We hope you'll join us next time on Live Green Tennessee, when we'll feature news stories and bring you more exciting news about Tennessee markets, farmers and businesses who are making the move to eating fresh and living green possible for all of us. Right here next time on Live Green Tennessee.
This program is brought to you in part by
Tennessee Department of Agriculture. This fall, there's fun worth finding just about every day at Tennessee farms, farmers markets, fairs, and festivals. You'll find corn mazes, pig races, farm animals and friendly faces, honey to eat, and fall colors that are a feast for the eyes. Whether you're looking for the perfect pumpkin or just a good scare. Find yourself on a Tennessee farm with picktnproducts.org.
And by the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Southern Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education.